Peace and blessings. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Bossy. I was cleaning my SD cards from my cameras and I came across quite a bit of these 16 by 9 shots that I hadn't done anything with so far. So I decided to use it and to do a really quick voiceover. And I think that this video is about 25 minutes, so we have a little while to just chat. And I want to talk about some of the things that have been on my mind lately. Primarily relationships and the relationships that we build and cultivate with other practitioners, especially those who are in a position where they are serving other practitioners, newer practitioners in the capacity of healer or teacher, or even creating products like I do to make available to the public so that people can use them as parts of their spiritual practice, their rituals, and their spell work. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I keep getting this energy, and it's been like this for years, that I'll get this energy from people, even people who do the exact same kind of work that I do, where they're not interested in the least in partnering or in assisting one another, doing the work together so that we can create mutual ease for one another and potentially prosper. What I'm getting from people is this desire to chill, to hang out, to take time away from the work, to go out, to chat on the phone about a lot of things that to me feel very unimportant. And here's what I want to say about it. I've been expressing for years that I'm not interested in these types of casual, vapid, shallow connections, that I don't have a lot of time to take away from work, nor do I want to take time away from work. And the time that I do take away from work and the free time that I do have, I don't want to spend it in the way that it seems a lot of people want to spend it, talking about boys, going out to get drunk, going out drinking and clubbing or partying or whatever, meeting up with a bunch of strangers, being in environments that are loud and messy and dirty and crowded and filled with a lot of errant energies. I love my quiet. I love my solitude. I love my cozy time. And I've been saying this for years. What I've discovered is that you can say the same things over and over. You can express yourself, you can state your intentions, and you can tell people very clearly who you are. And there's no amount of talking, there's nothing that you can possibly do to make people who are not listening to you. There's nothing you can do or say to make them understand. And so what I've discovered is that knowing how to ignore things and to ignore people is a skill. And it is a skill that must be deeply integrated, not only into the craft, into your spiritual practice, but also into your life, your life goals, like any area in your life where you are reaching for something, going for more, reaching for something higher, or moving towards some kind of a higher calling. You have to become, if it's education, something spiritual, a physical goal that you're desiring to achieve a financial goal, business goal, whatever it is, you have to become really good at ignoring not only the things that are an obvious sabotage of your efforts, but you have to become especially good at ignoring the things that you really, really like, that are subtle saboteurs of your goals, dreams, desires. And you have to become really okay with that. I observe some of the people in my life that I'm closer to, and those who don't really have a schedule, don't have a lot going on, don't have a lot of work or business, don't have a lot to do, and the way that they are just so available, so willing to go with whatever other people are suggesting, so malleable, so willing to go with other people's flow, to go with the tides. And I feel worried. I feel concerned for people like that who don't really have, they're drifting. They're not really making any choices. And I think that that's a popular way to live. It's just like, you know, I'm just at home watching TV or scrolling on my phone or doing really nothing. So when a person, any person really, decides that they want me to do something or they want me to be a part of something and they call, they reach out or whatever it is, I'm available for that. So yeah, I can adapt my evening, my weekend, my time to whatever you are suggesting, because I don't have a lot going on. And if that's the way that a lot of people live their lives, then when you meet someone like me who has plenty going on and who has plans of her own and who isn't easy to mold and bend, a person who can't sit on the phone whenever you decide you want to call me, who, even if I could, wouldn't want to. When you run into a person like me who has a lot of interests and plans and things that I want to do, not only for myself, but for my students and for my clients, I can understand why it would be difficult to understand that when I say I'm busy, I really do mean that shit. I had somebody text me recently, and the last time we talked, it was wonderful. We had a great conversation, but I made a public post, right, on one of my pages. I'm unavailable until 2025. I'm working on some goals. I want to finish paying off all of my debts before the year closes out, so I'm unavailable. Now, anytime I make a post like this, that's when I get the most invitations. Hey, let's go out for drinks. Hey, let's go to the bar. Hey, let's go to this event. Let's go out and do this thing in the community. Hey, I'm going to call you. And people want to sit on the phone for hours. Like, I didn't like sitting on the phone for hours when I was 12. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been a person who wants to sit around listening to whatever random thing you decide to spout out of your mouth. That's not something I find enjoyable. I like my own thoughts. I like thinking my own thoughts. I like creating things. I like to be productive. I don't want to be a mindless consumer of your meaningless banter or random content on social media, which is why this year I trained myself off of social media. I read 100 books so far this year. It is September 23rd, 2024. So from January 1 to September 23rd, I've read 100 books. I was replacing my scrolling with reading. In October, I'm coming up on a year of no longer smoking cigarettes and tobacco, and not even very much weed. I probably had like 3 joints this whole year. So I've quit smoking, which means that where I would have been reaching for a hit of nicotine over and over and over again, because I used to chain smoke, I haven't had that crutch all year. So I've been training myself to reach for things that are better for me, to reach for tea, to reach for vitamins, to reach for some fucking work, to reach for a book, to reach for water. it was never a part of the plan to reach for my phone, to be constantly texting, to have people over at my house, showing up at my house whenever they want, visiting and just sitting around talking about nothing, advancing none of my goals and plans, just taking up space in my physical environment, but also in my mind. So as I have been training myself and weaning myself off of excessive social media use, I have found that I have more space for thinking and contemplating and remembering in my own mind. A lot of space that was being taken up by random social media things, videos and conversations or debates in comment sections and things that people were DMing me and just all manner of nonsense. And now that I have this space, I don't want to sacrifice it to people who don't have anything better to do than to bother anybody and everybody that they possibly can in their lives. And I know that what I'm saying is not something that a lot of people will understand or be able to relate to. But those of you who can understand what I'm saying, you can understand what I'm saying, you can feel where I'm coming from. I want to encourage you that while it may not be easy for people to accept or to understand or to even respect, right? If you're someone who is a creative or you're building something, you're working on a goal, you're devoting yourself to your practice, you are changing your body or some habit in your life, maybe trying to remove a destructive habit from your life like smoking and upgrading it with, drinking medicinal teas and reading more books. If you're trying to shift and change things in your life and the people in your life are literally not letting you, right? I quit smoking and one of my friends started bringing me tobacco products. And I would say, well, this is nice. I'll just give it to my ancestors. And he would say, no, it's for you. And I would say, I don't smoke. And I'm not going to start smoking for you. And this is a powerful change that I've made in my consciousness, because the person who was bringing me the tobacco products is an Aquarius, and the person who introduced me to smoking and got me smoking was an Aquarius, both men. And now that I'm able to say, I don't do that, I don't smoke, I'll give it to my ancestors. Better yet, I'll powder it and put it into a new oil. I believe in the power of this plant. I know that a nice, clean, untainted plant is much, much better, maybe thousands of times better than commercial tobacco products that you get with, cancer papers and things there and all these extra chemicals that they laden the papers with. I know that a pure tobacco product is much better, but my experience and relationship to this plant has been an abusive one in the past, has been a severely dependent one where I was the one who was dependent in the past. And I'm not willing to enter back into a set it on fire and breathe it into my lungs relationship with this plant anymore. And that's how I know that the spell I had myself under, a spell that was originally cast over me by this Aquarius ex of mine, had been broken, because there's nothing you can do or say to get me back into that place. But here I am making this change, and here this person is coming and challenging it. And what you will find is when you decide, I'm going to fast or I'm going to diet or whatever it is, that's when the dinner invitations come. That's when the potluck invitations come. That's when somebody suddenly wants to come over and cook for you. Is when you are choosing to make a positive upgrade and change and improvement in your life, is you'll have people in your life who challenge it, whether they are aware of it or not. And you have to be willing to handle that and to respond appropriately. So I'm working. I am moving towards the elimination of all debt in my life. I am creating a more peaceful, seamless work experience. And so I'm not hanging out and I'm not talking on the phone, and I made that very clear. And I got a message from this girl, and she said, I don't know if you're busy. I started to say this earlier. I don't know if you're busy, or if I did something to offend you. And that's where I stopped reading the text. I don't even know what the rest of the text said. But the last time we talked, we were fine. Now you don't know if I'm busy or if you offended me. First of all, and I want everyone and anyone to hear this. When I have a problem with someone, everyone knows. And I will make sure that you know, first and foremost, if I have a problem with you. But also, I don't allow myself to be emotionally manipulated or manipulated into any type of behavior. It's like, you know, you want to talk with me. That's clear. So instead of just saying, hey, I miss talking with you. If you say something to me like, well, I don't know why you're not talking to me, when you know exactly why I'm not. I'm not on my phone because I'm working. You know this. Everyone knows this. So when you pretend like you don't know it, you invent some random drama for me to rush to defend myself against. I won't rush. I won't defend myself. I'll continue ignoring you. And you have to get good at ignoring shit that is distracting you from what you want to do, because life is quick and time is limited and you only have so much time to be the person you are. And there are things that you want to do. There are goals you have, and you have to be willing to defend those things against especially is what I'm finding, especially against the people you love and like the most. I hope that was helpful.